I'm changing my mind about this video series. Seriously, stop. It's
What are you
weird.
talking about? Video series. You know our whole video series?
Mm-hmm.
Why? You want to do no more?
So did you learn anything awesome this week?
Sure, I did.
What was it?
I don't know. I thought it was going to be set up for something. I said, no, you like,
You didn't learn anything in reading in scripture this week?
oh, you're
That
talking
was a
about
lot of
scripture.
ins. Did you learn anything new this week?
I thought you were talking about scripture. I mean, I thought you weren't talking about scripture. I thought you were just talking about
Yes, of course I was talking.
learn something.
Learn, learn like you learned something.
What? What are you talking about? Learn, like you learn. Like you learn, like you learn. Use it in
a sentence.
give me an example.
I
Like
didn't
you
learn
learn.
how to English very well.
I agree with it. Welcome back to another episode of Film-Worthy Tales of Scripture. I'm Nick, and this is
Shara. That was really good.
What?
That intro.
Oh.
It was very exciting.
Well, then I guess we'll keep going. You're in luck. Kind of. I don't know. Maybe you're bored already. Here's Shara.
This story comes to you out of Acts chapter 20, verses 9. It is a story about a young man who is listening to a sermon by Paul. He falls asleep, falls out of a third-story window to his death. Paul has to stop what he's doing, goes down 3 stories, resurrects the kid from the dead, and brings him back to life. I guess that's the same thing, right? Resurrect brings him back to life. Anyways, he comes back to life, and then Paul and him go back upstairs, and he continues on with his sermon. So, a couple of questions. Number 1.
Is Paul a penguin or a chicken? That's
What?
Here. Going downstairs.
Okay.
Like he's making Chinese food?
So
Like a lot of it? I don't know.
Paul talked for a very long time. So the questions are, why did this kid fall asleep in the first place? And number 2, why does Scripture feel it's so important to put that in here? I mean, the Bible is filled with incredible tales. Just look at Jesus, obviously.
Yeah, he's kind of incredible.
And yet, right here in the New Testament, just kind of randomly tucked in there, or we think it's random, right, when we first look at it, is a story about a kid who falls to his death and dies. But I have a feeling there's more to that than just it's a little story. What do you think?
I think you're right, Shara. There's more to that than just a little story. Paul started his sermon in this instance when it was still daylight outside, and we know he spoke until at least midnight with his sermon. That's when this kid fell asleep and fell ill. So if you're a pastor and you're doing several hour-long sermons, please be sure to issue out parachutes at the door. Or not. Maybe it wouldn't work at 3 stories. But this is what happens when you have several hour-long sermons. But apparently it was really good because after Paul went downstairs, resurrected the kid from the dead, he carried on with his sermon. And they went until daybreak. So that's a long sermon. It's like a marathon of a sermon.
The Harvest Crusade, without all the music, without all the glitz, without all the glamour, very, very to the point. And they were very serious back then. So pretty much it would be easy to fall asleep, at least for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul. You might have been a little boring.
But the room must have been packed. We're just assuming that. Not like it's going to matter either way, but it was a crowded room. That's why a kid had to sit in the windowsill. There's no other room in the house. It's standing room only. People were excited about this 12-hour, 14-hour, 8-hour sermon. So the point of this whole thing is this kid was resurrected from the dead after Jesus' resurrection. This is post-Christ returning to heaven.
And not by Jesus himself, by Paul, who wasn't even a direct follower of Christ. He wasn't even around when Christ was here. What?
Let's check out Matthew.
Matthew
Potatoes, chapter 10. Let's check out Matthew chapter 10. Start with verse 5 and go down to maybe verse 9, somewhere in there. This is Jesus talking to his 12 disciples. I'm going to skip to verse 7. When Jesus is telling his disciples, proclaim as you go, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, and cast out demons.
Wait. That deserves a replay. Hold on 1 second. Proclaim as you go. The kingdom of heaven is in hand. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, and cast out demons.
Not just lepers, all the sick.
Raise the dead. He is giving power to the people.
This is not metaphor. These are things you're supposed to do. We're supposed to do. His disciples were supposed to do. And all the followers since then are supposed to do.
And there are places where you can go that people do in serious prayer. Expect God to show up in big ways, and miracles beyond your understanding and any scientific doctoral definition happen.
Can't just say beyond your understanding. We don't know who's watching this, but beyond most people's understanding.
Well, I mean, generally, like if somebody's leg grows back, that's beyond my understanding of how that happened.
Oh no, but you're like pointing beyond your understanding. Like,
okay.
Just our understanding, everyone, just collective you,
okay, fine.
Not just you, but like collectively you.
Beyond our understanding, beyond scientific explanation or medical explanation, miracles happen because these people follow scripture, believe it, expect it, and it happens.
Let's go to Matthew 17:20. If you have faith the grain of a mustard seed, you can say to a mountain, move from here, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. Also, Mark 11:23. It's basically the same verse, but it's reiterated twice in the gospel, which was crammed full of information. So they said this part twice. I think it's important. It says, truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will come to pass, it'll be done for him. See, because we believe that we're powerful through our faith. In fact, if you remember, there's a time where Jesus goes back to Nazareth, and the scripture says he could do no miracles because of their lack of faith. Now we move to Mark 16:15 through 19. This is after Jesus' resurrection. That's the time we're in now. This is the Great Commission. He tells his prophets and his disciples, he tells his disciples to go into all the world, proclaim the gospel to the whole creation. Who believes and is baptized will be saved. Whoever does not believe will be condemned. And here's what you're supposed to do. Here's the Great Commission. These will be the signs that accompany his disciples? No. These will be the signs that accompany those who believe. In my name, they will cast out demons. They will speak in new tongues. They will pick up serpents with their hands. I'm guessing that means they're not going to get harmed by serpents. And if they drink any deadly poison, it will not hurt them. And they will lay hands on the sick, and they will recover. We are those people. You are those people if you believe. If not, then you could be. I think that's awesome. And I think that even myself, I'll just admit right now, I don't have that strong a faith to be able to do this yet. I know it's possible, though. I'd like to get there someday. We should be doing these kind of powerful miracles today. This is after Jesus. These are his disciples. And then you see Paul, in the same time frame that we live in now, doing what was said in the Bible. He was raising a kid from the dead. He's not the only one either. Go through the rest of the book of Acts and go through the other books in the New Testament. You'll find other disciples doing the same thing.
What's the moral of the story? Don't fall out a window, but if you do, hopefully Paul or a believer will find you. See you next week for another episode of Fill More Details of Scripture.
The only show put together by 3 free apps, 2 crazy people, and a website.
Thank you so much for joining us. Post comments, questions, suggestions down below, and hit subscribe if you really like us. Bye! How's it gonna be? I want you back.
All right, I'll see you later.